evening from Vietnam. Good afternoon to you, Marco. Thanks a lot for spending your afternoon to join our program and share your inspiring stories to our global audience. And on behalf of the listeners everywhere, we want to say thank you to you.
Yeah, hi. Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be the one, like the 94th country, I think that's how you announced it, who joins your podcast. So a big pleasure being here.
And it's funny, Marco, is because we interviewed so many people next to your country, but for some reason we couldn't find anyone that or connect to anyone from your country until our friend Hedinn, he introduced the two of us together. So I think when time is right, time is right. That's it, right? So
Yeah, it's so funny because I had a very, very deep and great conversation with Hedinn a few months ago. So yeah, you needed to pass through Iceland to come back to Luxembourg. Yeah.
and you've been traveling the world for work. You've been travel to Singapore, to Indonesia, to Malaysia, and Vietnam is this close to those countries.
I
Okay,
know, I know, I
so
know.
now you have a new friend, new family. If you decide to travel to Southeast Asia again, make sure you let Vietnam on the list. Make sure you let me know. We would love to have a cup of tea together.
Thank you so much. And actually, it was always on my list, but business-wise at that time, uh, Vietnam was not the best target for my business. So yeah, well, you know how it is, huh? When you run for business, you always go where the most business can be done. So yeah.
Understand. And for our audience, it's very honor if we can have you to share to them a little bit about who you are and what you do. Would you please do that for us?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am Marco Houwen. I am 53 years old. Married since, shit, I have to know that by heart, huh? 28 years, and a daughter of 20. So yeah, she's out of the house since a few months now. So a new life started actually for my wife and myself a few months back. Business-wise, today I call myself a teacher, speaker, coach, or speaker, teacher, coach. So I do public speaking around topics around consciousness, conscious business, around who will we be in times of AI, what is the human edge, and all these kind of topics which are linked to technology, but also to human expansion and human consciousness. Um, as a teacher, I do a lot of workshops in companies around topics of corporate culture evolution. I have created this um, narrative I call the growth identity. Maybe we'll go into that afterwards. Doesn't really matter. And yeah, and then I'm an executive coach. So I love to coach people, love to hold the space for people to find their own solutions. And as I am at the basis a serial entrepreneur and did a lot of companies over the last 25 years, I can not only coach but I also help them. Yeah, mentor advisory. I don't like these words, but sometimes that's also sharing my experience and hopefully help them with that to find their own solutions.
Wow. Marco, you introduced to us in your amazing journey in less than 2 minutes. And that's not fair for our audience, okay? So you build company,
Oh, it was
you
great. Thank you. Was a great conversation. Yeah, no, I'm kidding.
you have been doing a lot of amazing things. And you build company, you sold company, you bought company, you sold company. Now you're helping leaders to find their growth identity. You're helping companies to grow and expand and find the consciousness in the area of AI. And you introduced in less than 2 minutes. So we are going to travel time. We're gonna go deep in this conversation to know how it all begins. Okay. All right. How time travel means sound to you.
There are different points we can jump into when we do time travel. Maybe today I feel like starting the time travel in 1997. So I was 25 years old. I went through quite traumatic upbringing, in a sense that I was foreseen to take over some stuff from my parents, and that wasn't working. And there was a lot of tension, lot of problems over these years. And so I'm 25 years old, and I was lucky enough to find a few books a few years before, like 2 years before probably, around personal development. And these books were just amazing. It was blowing myself away. I would never heard about the fact that we as human beings can develop ourselves. I said, we are as we are, point. And then I read these books at that moment, with Dale Carnegie and Zig Ziglar and all these kind of stuff. And I was just blown away. I thought, hey, there's light at the end of my tunnel. And then I got a book which a friend of mine actually gave me, which was Awaken the Giant Within. And that is from Anthony Robbins. And I read that book and I said, this guy, he really gets it. First time that I see and have a conversation or read a book with somebody, which the guy really gets it. And I decided, okay, let's read it. And then, so we're talking 97. Tony was having a seminar in Brussels, this was just with train 3 hours away. And I said, hey, let's just sign up. I was way too late, paid the full price. I didn't have the money, literally. And so I asked money from friends, loaned money to go there. And I went to Brussels. And I always say I went in like a young man blaming the world for whatever happened to him. And I came out like the one, let's kick belt. And actually my whole journey, my whole entrepreneurial journey started there. Like I couldn't have imagined that I would be able to walk the coals and to walk over burning coals. I did it. It's a metaphor. There are a lot of other metaphors which are very powerful, but this was mine, and it helped me tremendously to just overcome so many of these crazy beliefs I had. And I said, okay, well, if that's possible, what else is possible? So I came home. I was just married, like, I don't know, maybe 6 months. And I said to my wife, now everything will change. And she said, yeah. And that's actually a recurring theme. We'll come back to that maybe. And so 3-4 months later, I quit my job. I went to the south of France, created my first company. A year later, this one was bust. I was almost personally bankrupt. Came back to Luxembourg and start over again. And maybe that's a part of my theme is I always started over again. When things didn't work, I always got up and dusted myself off, and then, hey, next, let's go. And so that characterizes a big part of my life. Yeah, that's where the time travel today will start. Could have started earlier, but that's where it starts.
Wow. So out of all the time, why did you pick 1997? Is that because of the moment that you changed?
Because of Tony at that. It was really it was really a pivotal moment. During that seminar, I lived things I would have never thought possible, and through that logic that you see things which you thought never being possible, you really literally ask yourself, oh well, if that works, what else can work? So now my life is not restricted anymore. It's open with all opportunities and all possibilities. And so that's why that moment was really crucial in my evolution. It, as said, it literally made me, and I had still so many things to tackle, actually till very recently, which were not tackled. So a lot of things which I could have been doing better for myself and so on. But that was the moment where this really started.
Wow. So how long have you been looking for that events in your life?
That's interesting. So maybe, well, I didn't know actually. I said that there was personal development, that there was this possibility to grow. At one moment in time, a few years earlier, I was working for an insurance company selling life insurances, and uh, our boss, he came up with this. He talked to us about a technique how to manipulate people into buying us insurances. and and I heard about that, and he explained it, and it was like, oh, this is so. It was transactional analysis. So it's some people might know. You can Google it, and it's actually it works with three states: parents, adults, child, and then you are in communication, and you always have to see what level you are in and how you are putting yourself in. That's obviously a good best conversation is adult to adult, but mostly so. And when I saw that, so if obviously they showed us that to how we can actually take the high end or high level for customers and maybe force them to buy and so on. But I saw that's amazing, because now I understand, like, so I had so much trouble with my father. Now I understand that. No. So actually, that's where the mind opened up for personal development. The mind opened up that there is something else. I knew about psychology, and I read about psychology before, but psychology, in a sense, it always takes this basis assumption that you have a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And personal development, so it takes this assumption that you can become even better. So it's way less difficult to go into personal development, and it's actually helping you way more, at least from my perspective, than classical psychology, because there's like, okay, let's do psychoanalysis, and let's go down the Freud way, and let's write a book about your psyche. That doesn't help anybody, neither me, and it's very boring for others to read. So it's not really something interesting. So having this applied logics of how can I grow as a human being, how can I change for myself as a human being, that was something totally new. And then I got into the book with Tony Robbins, and that was really opening up my world. And I call myself today, in a sense, an emancipated child of Tony, or son of Tony, because I love what he does, but I'm not working with his. I work with a lot what I learned from him, but I'm not in that energy of personal development anymore, because that's not what suits me best. But yeah, that's another story.
Bring me to that train. Okay, from where you were and to Brussels, and then you did not have enough money, so you have to borrow your friends. Okay, and then you got into the train, went to the let's say the event, right? And what was in your head when you were in that train heading to the event?
So anticipation. So when I was coming to the event,
Yes.
I literally felt horror, because I heard and saw the people dancing in the room. It was only 2,000 people at that time. Now Tony does 14, 15, 16,000, but at that time it was only 2,000. But it was shocking me, and I will never forget. I was so shocked that somebody from staff who was working, somebody who helped, he came up to me and he said, "Sir, don't be afraid. If you don't like it, you will get your money. It's a money back guarantee. You come see me in an hour or 3 hours till tonight. You will get your money back if you don't like it. So just go in, sit down, and enjoy the show." And actually, this person is probably one of the most important ones I ever met in my life. I have no clue who it is. I will never meet him again. But I was on my way out. I was on my way saying, "Shit, this is nothing for me. These are all crazy bastards. They're all dancing. They're all in a cult or whatever." And then he just talked to me and he brought me in. So
Himself.
that, yeah, he told me, just don't worry, just go in and you will see, and it will be good. And and you will get your money back when you you don't like it. And I went in, and and yeah, that's how it started. So yes, that is what I felt before, and then during the seminar, literally, it was a, yeah, a continuous evolution, continuous growing, continuous. So as I say, it's like there are two high moments in an UPW. So the Unleash the Power Within. Tony does more or less the same program still today. And the first one is the fire walk the first evening. So he prepares you literally from the beginning, like 4 o'clock to 9:10 to walk the coals. And when that happens afterwards, as I said, all possibilities are open and there. So you open up. And then the third day, on Saturday evening, he does what he calls the Dickens pattern, which is I always say way worse than walking the coals. And so yeah, I think both of these exercises transformed everything. Even so, as I always say, it's like that's one of the challenges when people talk about this. It's like they portray it like everything was perfect afterwards. That's not how life works, and that's one of the things I don't like about this kind of personal development approach, because it isn't. But it opens up new opportunities, a new life in a sense. And then in that new life, you have other challenges which you have to overcome. Life is, in a sense, just existence is there to overcome challenges. That's why we're here. Although we can philosophize about that later, but yeah.
I think that there's a huge difference between you and other people, because there's a lot of people who also attended Tony's events worldwide, right? Not everybody change. All right, so not only you change, but you accelerate. Bring me to a conversation you had with your wife 2 months after, when you said that, okay, there's something gonna be changing, you're gonna do something differently, and she said, yeah. So what did you mean to her that there will be something, significant happening?
So I alluded to two instances of that. So the first one was when I came home after my first UPW in Brussels in '97, and I said to her, we were just married, and I said, okay, we'll leave everything, we'll start our first companies, we'll go to the south of France, and we did. It was a catastrophe. We almost divorced over it, actually, but it was amazing, because with hindsight, when I look at it, yes, I was naive. I did so many mistakes, but I was extremely coherent and I was extremely authentic. I needed to do that, and I did it till the bitter end. And that's what characterizes me. So fast forward 20 years. So when we talked 1997, in 2017, I had very big wins in my professional career, in my entrepreneurial career, but I also had moments where I really felt extremely down. And after these years, I went to see Tony 20 years after again.
Oh.
And we went to London, we went at the Excel in London, and my wife was with me. And during that seminar, it struck me with, I will find a way to live from what I really want to do in my life. Because even so, I had created all these companies, I really felt like I had nothing achieved, because it was never really what I wanted to do. It was never really aligned with myself. And we can talk about it later. But yes, the point I wanted to make is my wife was at my side at that moment. And so I turned around when I got this moment of clarity, saying, yeah, I will find this. And I turned around and said to her, as of now, I will find a way, and now everything will change. And she said again, yeah. Oh, and it did, and it was a very wild ride for both of us. And yeah, I can say 8 years later, I don't know, time flies. That's another conversation. But amazingly, 8 years later, that's what we did. We reshuffled our life.
So you say that for 20 years of success, you never enjoy it. You never see something that you want it to be, right? How did you figure it out like that?
So what you need to understand is that when I started my first tech company, the idea was like 99, 2000. It was all about, I wanted to create a platform around personal development, creating a platform where people can find their own way through personal development. So, and as I had this experience of not being extremely successful alone, I partnered up with an economist and an expert in internet at that time, a journalist, and for months we were creating the business model, making it better. We already had even some investors who were ready to invest. But then we saw that the dot-com bubble will burst. So you remember 2000, and it mainly bursted because of one reason. You could show anything on internet, but you couldn't really monetize anything besides of internet sales of advertising. So there were no PayPal, there were no Stripe, there were nothing. So you could not exchange money over the internet at that time. And so we saw that this will crash. Actually, I always say everybody saw that it will crash besides the people who were ready to pay millions, who had invested millions or more into the whole bubble. And so one evening we were sitting and discussing our business plan for the idea I just said, and the internet expert, he said, "Hey guys, this is great, but this will not work because of these reasons." And we discussed that, and we said, "Yeah, you're right." I said, "But I have another idea."
Mm.
And he came up with what we did later in the end. So we created data center companies, hosting providers, domain registrar, voice over peak provider, cloud company, and. And I told him, "Okay, Xavier, I will give you 5 years of my life, and then I will do what I have to do. Till then, I hope the internet will have found a way to monetize." And out of these 5 years, I made 17. So I didn't stop 2005 and did what I needed to do. So I only stopped in 2017. So it means that it's not something I only found out in 2017. It's something which was always with me, which I always pushed away. I always said, yeah, well, it's great. You're great. You're on national TV. You have articles in newspaper. People are talking about you. Everybody said, "Oh yeah, amazing what all you have done," and blah, 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 blah. But again, for me, it didn't had a deeper meaning. There was not a deeper meaning for me. It could have, but that is how I was, or how I was wired at that moment. So in 2017, on top, some things didn't work out. My ego wanted them to work out, so I literally was going through very, very dark times for myself. And I said, "Well, I need to connect to what I am really about."
Mm.
And that is what this decision in 2017 was about. It was about finding, and because I didn't really know where this is driving me. If somebody would have told me already 4 years ago what I am doing now, I would probably have said, "I don't know, working with companies, I did that, I want to do that again," and so on. Love it now. It's like I am leaning into things way more than I could years ago.
Wow. So why did you bring your wife with you to Tony Robbins in 2017 together for that change?
Well, I brought her there. So we have an interesting relation. So she was, so obviously, yeah, I didn't say that. So when we were in south of France, we were representing Tony Robbins. So I was selling his seminars in the French part of Europe. And so we were very deep into this whole ecosystem of Tony for a year or two. And so for her, it's also something which is part of her. So in 2017, we just decided to go together because it was the moment and it was beautiful.
And did you realize that from that moment forward, that another Marco will also evolve and go to the next direction.
Yes. So what happens? It's an interesting question. I never really thought. Like, what happened at that moment deeply is a deep acknowledgement that I need to find my own way, that I have to stop to try to copy others. And that is what happened, started to happen then. And it took years. It took years and tries and trial and error. And I had some companies with people and I really, yeah. The other thing which happened at this moment is this unwavering commitment to my own deepening of understanding of myself. So I don't want to say to my own betterment. I don't know if that's something you can say, but for me, my life is primarily about understanding myself ever deeper, who I am, what I'm about, just going deeper for myself. So after 2017, I very fast got into a very spiritual on a very spiritual path, actually, where I went through actually Thich Nhat Hanh, who was a Vietnamese Buddhist teacher, was one of my earlier teachers. I felt very drawn to his teachings. I still do, in a sense. Eckhart Tolle, who is very known in esoteric environments with the power of now and the new world, were really instrumental for my path. And let me tell you an anecdote, which is really an interesting prelude to all this. Somewhere, I don't know, 2012, when I was on my craziest traveling the world and so on, I was not home much, and when I was home, I was sleeping mostly because I was jet lagged. But one day I met my parents and my mother, who is a devout Catholic since all her life, but not like Catholic, like trying to convince everybody, but just has her faith and believes in it. And she looked at me and she said, "Marco, you should really reconnect with your spirituality." And I brushed it off, obviously, at that moment. But that's exactly what happened. So I needed to do that reconnection. It went through a lot of different iterations. As said, Thich Nhat Hanh with his gentle approach on Buddhism, which is really beautiful. Eckhart Tolle, I had a very powerful shamanic phase. Till I landed to to my path I'm on now.
Because that path is very, very hard for a lot of people to first realize, then to accept, and to take part of the path, right? So when you said that you be able to find yourself in that path, what did you do exactly for you to realize that, hey, this is the path that Marco is will be able to find out about who he is and have that connections?
So Lao Tzu said, the path is the goal, or the journey is the goal. Walking the journey is the goal. And that's what it is, at least for a big part. So for most of these years, I called myself a seeker. It's very difficult to tell somebody what you really search for. Inner peace, calm, joy, a lot of things you are looking for. And then there are things which give you that a little moment, and then not anymore, and then the mind takes over, it rationalizes again, and you say, yeah, well, there might be something better, something whatever. So it's a very personal, no journey is the same. So that's why you cannot put it into a blueprint. For me, it was really about trying stuff, doing stuff, what I felt good for, But I had checked inside in myself if I can or should or will want to go there. I did. And it was again a lot of controversy when I did my on my shamanic path. I worked with ayahuasca and so on, and these kind of experiences were not first of all not for the fainted heart for myself, and not easy to handle, but also for somebody who doesn't who is not on that path. It's not easy to handle neither, to see you and to understand what is going on and so on. But one moment in time, actually maybe 2017, 18, I coined this mantra for myself, which well, actually I didn't coin it. Somebody told me, and I adapted it for myself. And it is the following: I walk the path my soul has chosen, and that gave me, in a sense, it gave the possibility to my brain to shut up, because I told myself in the mantra, I walk the path my soul has chosen. And it felt so right for me. And so somehow I went on and I don't know, I created Entrepreneur. I became a coach during that time. I created Entrepreneur. I never wanted to work with companies, and that's all I do now. So it's like, and I continued, but you know, when you search, sometimes you are very restless. So you are very frantically looking for something. And actually, the first thing which calmed me down was really ayahuasca, because it gave me answers. It gave me a calm. It gave me the first time in my life hours of not thinking. I thought I was sick. Literally after, like the day after, I thought, or even 2 days, say, what's going on? There's no noise. No noise here. How is that possible? There was no noise. It's really crazy. And then I said, okay, that's great, but well, I cannot start. I cannot drink all the time the medicine, so that's not sustainable. It was a very important part of me, part of my path, because I think it made it were shortcuts. I shortcutted a lot of my journey like that. But then I was already, but then I really got deep into meditation and started to meditate. Well, actually, also with Thich Nhat Hanh and his beautiful mindfulness meditations, but also meditations with Joe Dispenza, Dr. Joe Dispenza. Maybe you heard about him.
Yes.
And I was really, really deep in that. I did one workshop and 1 week-long retreat with him. Unfreaking believable. And on the week-long retreat, actually, that is where I the first time saw who I can be. It was beautiful. It's really tough to keep it. Huh? It's like you are in this closed-off environment, and then you get out of that, and then you hit the world again. That all hell breaks loose. Yeah, and so I was deep into that. I meditated at that time every morning, and that was really beautiful. And yeah, one day I don't know exactly when it was. Maybe 3 or 4 years ago. 4 years ago, probably. Yeah. I listened to a guy. I don't know actually how I found him or how he found me. And he says, why do we meditate? Do we meditate for peace? Do we meditate for calm? Do we meditate for relaxation? Yeah, all that might be possible. But at the end, the only reason why we meditate is for union, is for yoga. By union with what? By union with God. And that was enough for me to say, shit, he's right. And since then I follow his path. And so I'm not a seeker anymore. So I walk that path, and which is a long road ahead, obviously, but it's the seeking is over. And as such, knowing that the seeking is over is incredibly relieving. There's not that hassle anymore. Like, what book do I have to need next, which will solve my problems? There's nothing which will solve my problems besides myself. And so it's like, and so yeah, and this guru is called Paramahansa Yogananda. Maybe you have heard about him. He wrote the book which is widely known, called The Autobiography of a Yogi. And he brought yoga to the West in 1920 already. So he died in 1952, or he passed on in 1952. And yeah, just to give you a perspective on how important he is in culture here in the West, when Steve Jobs died, he ordered 500 copies of the book before he died. So that was one of his last. He said he ordered 500 copies of the book, Autobiography of a Yogi, and everybody who was on his funeral got a copy.
Mm.
And he read the book every year once, which is really not much, and so much more to read. But yeah.
Wow. So for you, from a non-stop journey of self-discovery about who you are until you found the answer, and then you're the only person that, you know, leading that one, like you say, you to find the answer for yourself, right? And moving to now, you're helping other people to find the answer for themselves. Why did you decide to take that hard part again?
I always, already as a child, and as a youngster or teenager, I always was the one people were talking to when they had challenges. So people were asking me for advice. Obviously, when they got their advice, they just walked away. Mostly girls. So I fell in love to them during the conversation, and then, or during that process, and then when they got their answer, then they were walking out. So that was not a good thing. And actually, that's one of the reasons why I let go of it, because I said at that time, I'm not like there, yeah, just there when they need me. I want to be part of their life. So I let go of that. It was not cool when you're a teenager and you are the ones who help people when they're not doing well. Obviously, all the ones, or everybody had these phases. Then they came to me, and then when they were not feeling bad anymore, then they were bashing me about the fact that before I was helping them. So it's a strange situation, and for most of my life, I didn't want to reconnect with that, but that was me. And so becoming a coach and becoming the one who is really there to help people is part of me since always. And then now we can decorticate that, and going into the detail of the fact that that gives you validation and so on. It's like all that is there. We can psychologically look at it, but that is what I saw, that what I really can do well, and then I know that I really can do that well. And so it gives me tremendous energy. It's like literally, I just had a workshop beginning of September in Paris. The guys told me to do something I wasn't really comfortable with. I told them I am not an expert in it, but they said, well, just do something based on that with your staff. We trust you, which is the worst thing a customer can tell you, because then everything lies on you. It's like, because now, shit, no, I really have to deliver. And I did that workshop, and shit, it was amazing. It's like I said beginning, I'm born ready. I am born for this. So I am born to just authentically and share me and myself, and authentically support people on their path. Now, I'm not there to tell them they should all walk Yogananda's path, because that's mine, that's not theirs. I'm very happy if somebody says that's amazing, give me the book, I will read it. That's not how life works. Otherwise, you become just another religious fanatic telling people that you have the answer. I have my answer. That doesn't mean that I have yours. Maybe it is the same, maybe not. So my role is to create this environment where people can find their own environment, and I do that for for executives, for owners, for entrepreneurs, for C-level people, and it's an incredible honor to have the right to do that. So in my terms, I'm feeling honored to be a tool for him to help them to be better.
And then you created the several frameworks, right? And one of them you mentioned earlier today is it's called the growth identity. What is that?
Yeah. So there are two angles to this. There's the personal angle, and there's the professional angle. In a sense, they're absolutely the same, but you have to explain them a little bit differently. But let's talk about the personal angle. So we're not talking so much about companies right now. It's like, what do we want to do in our lives? We want to have lasting success. And then we need to define success. That's another conversation. What is success? Is it money, or is it happiness, or is it both? Whatever. That's another conversation. But we want to find this lasting success. And so how do we do that? Well, let's create a strategy. Let's set something up and let's do. And then we execute that, and we hope we will create this incredible impact and legacy to the world. And then we do that, and then it doesn't work. And then we say, shit, why doesn't it work? And we try something else. And we again bring all that energy together to create something new and strategy. And I would see, shit, it's not giving the impact. It's not making me happy. It's not making me successful too. And the reason why that is because you start with the external creation before you have asked yourself the internal questions. So you are in extrospection before you have asked, who am I? So you need to go to the three basic questions, and you need to answer them for themselves. Who am I right now? What am I standing for? No matter what are my values, my core values? And why do I do what I want to do beyond money? Purpose. And so Simon Sinek, you probably heard about him. He always talks about start with why. I say yes, but not only. Start with who. Start with who am I? What am I about? Why am I here? Because if you only start with why, you might just again pass at the side of the main question, which is who am I? As a person, I need to know who I am. I am a person who loves to talk to people. I am a person who loves to help. I love the deep conversation. I need to admit that to me. And only if I have done that, then I can create my values. What am I standing for? So what are my three core values? It's really simple. Joy. Joy, courage, and spirituality. These are my three core values. That is what drives my life. And everything which is going around these three things, I'm totally fine. But if it is not, and I cannot conciliate that with myself, then I'm not in my energy. I cannot create. So only if I have created this, what I call growth identity, I can start to talk about my strategy. In essence, that's what I didn't do at the beginning in 2017. That's why I failed a few times with stuff I did. So there's one thing for me which is really crucial now is I need to have the courage to walk alone. For years, I always thought I need to partner up with people. Oh yeah, I love people. Let's work for partner up with people. But in essence, every time when I partnered up with people, I was all the time thinking, yeah, he's not doing this, he's not doing that, and so on. And then I said, okay, is this about this person or is it about me? Then I found out actually it is not about the other person. It's about me finding all these excuses of what I am not doing and pushing it on somebody else. So the only way I can be really me is let me just do the stuff myself. I do it myself now. Now I partner up with people, but not on the basis of you do this, you do that. So it's not on the basis of I excuse myself or I apologize myself for the fact that I am not doing stuff or things are not happening. Well, something is not happening in this company. It's about me. It's me. So I'm a solopreneur. I cannot put that on somebody else. And this is really a huge learning I had over the last 3-4 years doing that. Now actually people coming up to me and asking me to partner. Before I would try to convince everybody to partner with me. I'm not talking about that anymore. Somebody comes up to me and I feel it, and it is really something which is aligned with the biggest pleasure. But it is not me running around trying to find a partner. Why should I? I'm good enough. We are all good enough.
Wow. Beautiful. Marco, for the guy that having a very unique path like you, all right, there's a lot of thinking that happen in the backbone of what you do. And my wife and I, we've been on the quest to help people to improve their ability to think, because we believe that our thinking has a lot of things that diminishing it at the moment. So one way for us to help people to improve their ability to think is to ask questions through this conversation. And the best way is to ask you directly. So, Marco, how have you been growing your ability to think over the years?
It's a very good question. I was gifted with the capacity to see how things work together from a bigger view. So I'm a system thinker. I always was. I can see the detail, but it is tiresome. I love to see the big picture. I already as a kid, I was interested in politics and in global politics and it's like I always thought like that. So that is the basis on which I function. Now, how did I improve that? Obviously, I used it in my business ventures over the years, but systems thinking not always helps you really to achieve what you want to achieve, because you're always quite detached from action on the ground.
Oh.
And so I was going back a lot, and especially in some of my startups, I really like strategy became really secondary. It was all about survival. And how did I come back and reconnect it with this capacity is through the fact that I started to let go of so many unnecessary stuff in my life, it's like all this stuff which is polluting our brain all the time, like the thing we promised to deliver but we didn't, all these things we think we should do but we are not, everything which is actually nagging all the time in our brain, it's taking our brain capacity, and we're not aware of that. So meditation again is something which helps you tremendously to get focused. Actually, that's one of the only reasons why we meditate. It's about focus on one thing. Now, this is really a tough thing. I invite everybody to try it. It's not something easy to do, but it's worthwhile the exercise, because that's what you give the possibility to start to really think deeply, not to worry. Worrying is not thinking in that sense. It's you are not deciding to think when you worry. It's everything which comes up to you and like, and then you're driving nuts in your head. It's not thinking. The thinking is, sitting there. I just give you an example. I was sitting one morning, it should be 2021, in meditation downstairs in my living room. At that time I didn't have a proper meditation spot yet, and I was meditating, and then during the meditation I saw all the time the infinity sign. I have no clue why, never thought about it, never said. And I was sitting there, and then I got up out of the meditation, and I came here in front of this laptop, and I didn't brush my teeth, I didn't change, I was in my PGs here for 3 hours, and I created the basis of what my model is about. Because I could calm myself, I could create something like that. And if you look into how creation works, it's always like that. How inventions works, it's always like that. Yeah, I don't know the name of this inventor anymore, but this is really beautiful. I don't know where I read that, but there's this one inventor very known, and he had his way. He had his thinking chair. So he had a chair, and he made it totally dark in his room, and then he was thinking. Actually, he wasn't. He was, in a sense, meditating. And that brings up in the whole other conversation about where is this information coming from, which we then create about. That's a nice topic to tackle. But so to answer your question straight is, from a worrying mind who sometimes has a great thought to a mind which slowly and surely becomes focused in creating what needs to be created. And with my faith, create what I am asked to create. So in a sense, I let go of that ego saying that I have to create. I don't have to create. I am just creating for, and again, my path. I don't want to annoy anybody, but I have what God is telling me. That's what I'm creating. Now it's not the white guy. It's not Dumbledore sitting up there. So it's not that what. It's just, you can call it spirit, universe, whatever you want. The unified field, as Einstein was wanting to prove, that there is with his unified fields theory, that everything emanates from one field. That's God, that's universe, that's spirit. And so our mind works best when it just is directly linked to that. And the only way how to do that is through a practice which is somehow meditation. Now, I have my practices, the way I meditate, probably the best in the world, at least for me. But everybody needs to find his way to calm his mind. As long as the mind drives nuts, you always will find the next solution for the next little problem you have to solve. But that's not creation.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I think we are reaching to our end of the hour already. Do you still have a few minutes for us to continue, or you have a next meeting already?
Yeah, that's all good. It's all good.
I just have two last questions for this beautiful conversation. Okay, and I think when I listen to your beautiful sharing, I see a word in here is sustainability. That you've been running, you've been working, you've been trying to find something that can build something sustainable for you, and through that you have people to find something that's sustainable for themselves also. All right, and I'm not sure if I connect it that way correctly. Just my gut feelings telling me that. All right, and that make me want to ask you a question about my set of sustainability, because we want to help people to think about a sustainability mind, to build a sustainability mind, so that they can, anything that they do, like you say earlier, think about a bigger picture before you dive into a smaller actions, right? So that also sustainability in there. So we want to hear your own definition of a sustainability mind, so that people can adopt that, can learn from it.
So a sustainable mind, in essence, is a calm mind. You're not sustainable when you are drowning in the past or thinking that you have to control the future. So obviously, you will have, probably out of the 100 people you interviewed, you will have 75 telling the opposite of what I'm saying. So that's fine. I can live with that. But it's not about controlling. Sustainability is not about controlling. Sustainable is to be yourself at any moment. because then you do what you need to do at when it needs to be done. The mind is just used to prepare future stuff. It's not there to think about what could be all the possibilities which can go wrong in the future, because that's what we mostly do. And then when we have done that, we create all the solutions to that things which can go wrong in the future. But then we are starting to doubt these solutions, so we create a second layer of solutions for the solutions who might not work. And during all that time, we actually talking about sustainability. All this energy is going through our brain, and out of these millions or thousands of scenarios we set up, there might be one coming up. So it's not sustainable. The only thing sustainable is be you, be rooted in yourself, in who you are, and on that basis act as it needs to be acted at that moment. And that sometimes needs thinking ahead. So it's not like don't think ahead. You need still to think ahead. But the thinking ahead is a consequence out of what you need to prepare, not out of controlling the world around you, because you can't. I always laugh at people in my coaching practice when people say, yeah, but I am controlling what this is. You're controlling shit. You're controlling absolutely nothing. You just have an illusion of control. And then you think you're sustainable. You're not.
Wow. Beautiful. The last one is about time travel one more time. Okay, so I want to bring you to the event that you joined, Tony Robbins, 1997. You walked out, right? And instead, him stopped you and tell you about the program and asked you to stay and experience and money return guarantee, right? Now you and I will be the one who stopped you back then. Okay, and you are going to tell your younger version of Marco at 1997 about the future, about everything that you possibly can tell him in a quick minute or two. So what is that you are going to tell that young Marco?
Everything Tony tells you in an hour is true. You need to believe in yourself, and you need to believe in that you are good enough and that you're capable to do anything you put your mind towards, as long as it is aligned with yourself. And don't worry. Stop worrying. Just go for it now. Don't wait 25 years. Go for it now. Not that I'm not regretting my 25 years. They gave me so much more facets and background. But if I would have to talk to him today, I would say, yeah, everything you put on your goals today, you can have them. I didn't believe at that time, obviously. Even so, it started everything, but I deeply myself, I didn't believe, because I still was so full of fear and anger and frustration and so on. So just let it go. Let it go. It's all in the terms of my guru, it's all an illusion. It's the cosmic play. It's Maya. So you are able to do anything you want.
Beautiful. Well, Marco, that's a beautiful way to end this conversation. It's a very powerful message to a lot of people out there. And I'm thankful that you spend your afternoon and joining our program and share a lot of personal life story with a lot of wisdom in this conversation that will be benefiting for a lot of people. And we thank you for doing that. Thank you so much for doing that.
Thank you for having me. And it was it's only as good as the questions which are asked. So thank you very much for bringing it out of me.
Thank you very much. You have a beautiful day. Say hello to your daughter and then say hello to your wife also first,
I
please.
will. You
Thank
too.
you.
Bye.
Bye bye.